Alright, so let me demonstrate how I create those timers. First of all, I just go to Google because I tend to forget the name of the website, but it's actually timeanddate.com. Pretty straightforward. But yeah, so I Google it, I just write timer, and then it's the first result over here. Click on it. So this is what I get. What I can do is I can make it full screen from this button. And now I want to use the outline of the station that I have here at the bottom right, you can see. So we have basically the station is going to be 20 minutes long, right? Let's just add a bunch before we start. So we're just gonna add a bunch of timers, and we can delete any that we don't need by clicking on remove. Right. So let's start, for example, by creating this station to last 20 minutes. That's the whole station. That's when the station will end for 20 minutes. Now, if I knew that I had, let's say, I don't know, 8 stations or something, I would just create the same timers 8 times. But the best way to do it, I think, and the least time consuming way, is for me to do it as I'm doing it right now. I'll show you in a second. And this is the most important thing here, the timer order. We want to start them all together. This is why I use this website rather than any other, because it starts all timers together. Okay. Now, so we created the end of the station. I'm just gonna call it station end, for example. Timer and alarm. You can see how they sound like. So, for example, if I wanted to, let's see how this sounds. That takes a long time. Let's see how this one sounds. That's annoying as well. I think I used one of these telephone ones before, so you can check how they sound. That sounds sort of reasonable. It sounds like a manual alarm clock, you know. Let me just see what telephone one is. First telephone thing. So both of these are sort of reasonable and they're not very annoying. Anyway, so let's say I like this telephone one. Station end. It lasts 20 minutes, and now I click on done. Okay. So this is the end of the station. Let's see now, let's do the beginning. In the beginning, the student will walk in. We'll have a timer that lasts 1 minute for them to read, for example. That actually happens before these 8 minutes start. So if they have, it depends on if the students have something to read on the outside or not. I'm not gonna recreate an exam, so I'm just gonna go according to this. And in here, we don't have a minute to start with. So maybe the students have already been told that you have to take history from a patient and you have to examine them depending on what the station is, and they'll just find out what the patient has inside the station. Right. So now at 8 minutes, we will give the student a 1 minute warning. So we can do that. So at 8 minutes, 1 minute warning for history. Okay. And here we can just use something simple, so such as this one. That's pretty straightforward. So this means, let's see what the other beep is. Alright, so we'll use both of them. So we'll use, this means there's 1 minute left. And then the second one will be after 9 minutes, as in the station is over, so history over. That's what we'll write. And the timer will be this one. Okay. Now we're almost done. So now the station will be moving on to physical examination. So for physical examination at 16 minutes, give the student 1 minute warning. So I'm just gonna write at 16, 1 minute warning for physical examination. And we're gonna give it the same sound we did for the first time. And let's just add another one because it looks like we need one more. So I just clicked on add another timer and then I moved it using these arrows. Right, so this one will be the end of the physical examination at 17 minutes. So 17 gonna be physical examination over, and I can just write start feedback. Okay, so now basically the student will have time to take the feedback. All right, so this thing actually implies when it says 17 minutes, asks the student to stop physical examination. I think they mean at the end of the 17th minute, so that the student can actually have 9 full minutes of physical examination rather than 8. Because we have 9 minutes for history taking, that's okay. But if physical examination ends at 17, this means that the student was given 8 minutes for physical examination rather than 9. So we're gonna make it 18 here. And that leaves 2 minutes between these two. So basically 9 minutes for history taking, and then another 9 from here to here for physical examination. And then we have 2 minutes for feedback. That's what it comes down to. We'll change this one accordingly. All right. This is how I would do it, unless physical examination actually needed just 8 minutes rather than 9. So in that case, we would put it back the way it's written. Now, what do we do? And how does it end up looking like? We click on start here to start all timers together. So all of them will start. Now, this one, as soon as the 8 minutes are over, meaning there's 1 minute remaining for the 9 minutes of history taking, we'll hear this beep sound. After that, when the 9 minutes for history taking are over, we'll hear this sound automatically. That means the history taking is over regardless of where the student has reached. Next, the physical examination will start, and as soon as the student has 1 minute remaining, in this scenario, we've pretended that, according to what's written for me, the physical examination station is just 8 minutes. So we're gonna click, it'll make this sound when 16 minutes have passed since the beginning of the station. And when physical examination is done, which was a total of 8 minutes given for it, this sound will be given. Finally, there are around 3 minutes of feedback here according to this. So from 17 to 20, there will be 3 minutes for feedback, and this sound will be given, which is more unique. It's different from the other beeps to say that the station is over. So once it's over, let's say all of them will have reached 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. And what we do is we can just click reset and start again. I've noticed that the other programs that we have sometimes require manual intervention as well. So I think that's fine. The other way to do it is sort of totally automatically. The way we used to do it in my university was we created a PowerPoint presentation where we created so many slides, so it does require a bit of work initially. And so because in PowerPoint you can copy paste things, like here there's no function to copy paste all alarms, like I don't know how many times, but on PowerPoint you can just copy paste slides. In PowerPoint it would be something like that. Setting it up will be like this. So for example, you can make this change every 30 seconds. Right? So this does require some time and so on. So every 30 seconds you would make it change, and you would set the timer for the slide to transition to be 30 seconds. And for the last one, let's say this is the last one, after 8 minutes, you can have it make a sound when it moves to this station that says this station is over. Okay. And so on. And then you can have it automatically repeat. Once this one is over, for example, once we do the rest of the station up to 20 minutes, we can have it repeat automatically. And that's the way to do it using PowerPoint. It will look like, so the good thing about this is that it runs totally automatically. The bad thing is that the time only changes every 30 seconds. It's possible to make it change every 15 seconds, obviously, by having it at 15-second intervals. But that, again, takes quite a bit of time to get it ready. So it'll just make, it'll just basically maybe double the amount of time required to create this presentation. And these are the possible ways that I can think of, other than actually finding software that does all this on its own.